What is up? Welcome back to the Podium Proof F1 podcast. My name is Frank Alessi.
And I'm David Alessi.
All right. Excited to get back in this. Been off for a couple weeks, had a bunch going on, had a little vacation in the mix. We'll call it a
Call it a racecation.
Yeah, racecation. Work. we'll say we were working.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So we'll tell the wives anyway. It was work, babe. Come on.
Yeah, it's work related, 100%. It means we can expense everything, right?
I don't know to who. Yeah, we can label it as an expense.
Yeah. Yeah, good to be back after some long weeks away.
Yeah, man, it's not a lot has changed. In terms of who's doing all the winning.
Nope. I don't think that's a big shocker though.
No.
I can't say we're coming back with breaking news that Max is still winning.
Right. I mean, like what the hell else can you say, man?
Yeah.
About what we're watching here this year.
History in the making. Well, it's already history.
Yeah.
It's not even in the making anymore. It's already history.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was very cool to get to see that in person.
Yes, it was.
You know, as we alluded to, we went to COTA last week.
Yeah, we did our second annual COTA GP trip.
And man, I tell you what, that place is freaking phenomenal. I absolutely love going there.
Mm-hmm.
That track is outstanding.
The track is amazing. The whole facility is just incredible. Lots of improvements were made from last year as far as like our complaints go.
Logistics and all.
Yeah. Still, I mean, look, we could still sit there and say, oh, they should do this better or that better. You know, look, you can only plan but so well for the chaos of what was the number? 432,000 people over the weekend.
So I actually have how about that for my complaint? I have a bone to pick with that because last year they set the record at what was it, 440,000?
440. Yep.
And dude, last year did not have the amount of people that this year had, and it wasn't close.
It didn't seem like it. Like
because we're talking weekend attendance.
Right.
Bro, fucking Friday was slammed with people.
Mm-hmm.
Last year on Friday, we could go walk anywhere we wanted, into any grandstand we wanted, and there was seats open everywhere.
Yep.
I'm talking like rows and rows of seats.
Yes.
Not just like randoms here or there, like just sections. This year, bro, you couldn't find, like, they had a couple spots, but I mean, there was a lot of people there on Friday, and it was jammed up on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday was packed. I mean, Friday, look, there was a good bit empty on Friday, but comparatively to how empty last year Friday was, you know, and obviously, right, sprint weekend, so main quali is on Friday. So, you know, as expected, it's going to be pretty packed for that. But as a whole, man, yeah, I completely agree. You know, looking at the people that were there and how packed the stands were, I really thought it was going to be more like 450.
I'll be honest, dude. I thought they were going to hit more than that.
I'm curious to know how they track that, because clearly they don't. I mean, yeah, they scan, like going into turn 11, you know, in the GA where we were. If you had like a ticket on your phone, they scan that. Okay, they can track that how many people they scanned in, but we had the wristbands.
Yeah, nobody scanned it.
Yeah, like is there really some kind of RFID thing in there that scans it when you go through the tent? You know, is there a way of tracking that?
I mean, maybe it's something to do with the metal detector. Them weird metal detectors you walk through that don't really check for anything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I'm not sure. I was kind of curious as to how they really come to that number because it sure as hell didn't seem like that was accurate.
I'll tell you right now, there was definitely not less people this year than there was last year, which is what the numbers said.
Mm-hmm.
That is inaccurate.
Right. Yep. Yep. So, all right. Well, hey, before we get too deep into all of this, let's talk brown stuff. I have got a wrapper to remove, so why don't you go ahead and start while
All
I'm
right.
doing this?
Well, going with a bottle I hadn't touched in a while. Actually, these two bottles, I took them out of my closet and I actually had to dust them off. I got a George Dickel 15-year barrel pick, store pick. And I believe, yeah, here's the sticker. This one came from Alexander's about my house, and it's a great bottle. I know George Dickel, you know, to anybody drinking bourbon out there, it's it's different, but these 10 and 15-year store picks are excellent.
I want to say I've had that one at your house before.
I think you have. I think it's been a little bit, but I think you have.
Yeah.
And this other bottle I got over here, this is a Hocus Pocus one that is also fantastic, but it's 9 years. So it's kind of in a different flavor profile just because of the age difference, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually rather impressed with either of those bottles, just because I mean I haven't drank much Dickel, but you know the stigma around Dickel is that it's shit whiskey. You know, that's kind of just the general consensus around it, and that may be true for the you know, just that run of the mill whatever small batch. I don't even know really. I've never even tried it, but those bottles were really good. Really good. Now, I, on the other hand, am going to be cracking open a bottle that I've been chasing. Well, I can't say I was really even chasing it because it just disappeared for so long.
Yeah.
So I got my hands on a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. And last year, was it last year or was it longer ago than that when they came out originally?
Dude, that was
19. Feels longer.
That was 19 when that
was came it out. That long ago?
Well, to be fair, it's not the same thing.
No, it's not. But I was just going back to
that was a heritage release.
Yes, but I was just going back to how they came out, and
oh yeah, dude,
and man, like I remember
that was at least 3 years ago, 3.5 years
doesn't feel like that long, but you know, I mean, dude, so many, and I know you did the same thing. There were so many times where I walked past them, stopped, looked at the shit I was already buying. It was like, I already got a lot I'm picking up. I'll snag one of those on the next trip. Right. And the next trip comes around and I'm like, I'm already spending enough money. I'll get one of those on the next go around. And then when I did go specifically to get one, they were just gone. And they were nowhere to be found. No store had them, just poof, vanished, gone. And then the other week, I was headed to the track, and I stopped at one of the ABC stores up by the track just to get a bottle just for us to drink there. And I walked in, and they had one of these sitting on the shelf. I was like, nope, not making that mistake again. You're coming with me. So, yes, this is a different one. That was the Heritage Rye, but I don't care. It's still the JD barrel proof rye. And
So
I finally got my hands on one. So we are going to crack this sucker and see if it was worth it.
it will be. I can promise you that.
Well, it's
I
a
have,
good thing
like I
taste
said,
doesn't always go off of the cork pop, because that was horrendous.
those JD bottles never have good cork
Dude,
pop.
my regular barrel proof usually gets a pretty good one, but that was just like a. It wasn't even a. There was no pop to it. That was.
I want to say the majority of my JD bottles are like that. But
Ooh, it smells good. Oh, so all right, let's see. So this is a 130.8 proof.
ooh, that's low for
It
those.
is. Let's see.
I mean, it's extraordinarily high in general, but that's
for a
typically low for
JD, that's
those.
kind of on the lower end. 2-18 barrel house. Barrel number, nobody cares about that.
Unless it's like
9/14/23 bottling date.
Boy, that thing didn't take long at all to get from bottling date to your hands.
I know, right?
I mean, you probably
because let's
bought
see.
that thing a month
I
and a
picked
half
this
ago.
up. Let's see. Last weekend was Coda. The weekend before, I was head of the track, so it was that Friday.
No, it was the previous one.
I mean, yeah, that's right. So let's see. So Coda was 21st, 22nd. So this was 14th, 15th. So it was Friday the 13th is when I picked this up. And it was bottled on 9/14. So, and I don't know when it got to that store. So less than a month from being bottled to on the shelf.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Is that a 750 or 375?
750.
Okay.
I don't know if that short of time period is normal to anybody else, but being from Virginia, where it has to go to the ABC warehouse and then they have to distribute it to the different stores and, go through all that. That's impressive. I'm actually pretty excited about that. Good job, ABC. I don't think I've ever said that before. That tasted kind of weird. Hang on, let me wash that out. I didn't like that. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I don't own one of those bottles, but
Wow.
I've tasted one over at Hocus. I've had actually a couple times. I've had some pours out of it.
Wow.
And it was phenomenal. The bottle I had was like 143.
Bro, like that neck pour. That was awesome.
So I'll just put this: Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye, the Heritage, and this last one I had. I'll just call it all Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye collectively. Is in my top 5 whiskeys that I've ever had. It's hard for me to categorize like the best I've ever had, or rank them or anything like that, because like bottles are so specific a lot of times when it comes to single barrels and all. Like, you might have these whiskeys that hit like that, 2-3 years apart.
Yeah.
So like, there's really no way to like just put them all next to each other and rank them.
Burns the nostrils. The nose isn't great, but then again,
That's exactly what I said.
It's
on
neck
mine.
core. I mean, the nose is just like, it's just all alcohol.
That's exactly what I said on mine.
I mean,
Same
neck
thing.
core, 130 proof, but still, I mean, I can't really use the proof to justify why it's like that, because, like, bro, you can't see it on the camera.
Mm-mm.
But I know you know, because you have the same bottle. That bottle of Stag Junior, that one is a 130 proof, and the nose on that thing is incredible.
Yeah.
And even some of like the JD regular bourbon barrel proof that I've got, the nose on that one is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how this kind of opens up, and I'm sure the nose will change on it.
Yeah, probably so. But
Oh my God, bro, that's freaking good though. That does not drink like a 130.
No, it doesn't at all.
Oh man. I mean, it's got a little bite, like proof bite on the finish, and a little bit on the tongue, but nothing crazy.
No.
Nothing crazy.
It doesn't destroy you or anything like that.
No. And I mean, now look, to be fair, I don't have any other barrel proof ryes. I've got some higher proof. I've got some 110s and stuff, but they're not even labeled as barrel proof.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a little bit of uncharted territory with this one. But yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get back into some F1. Where were we? Coda. Awesome. Fantastic. Caveat, Salt Lake barbecue while we were there.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, that is I guess you'd say it's a nationally renowned. I don't know if you could say it's world renowned, but
I don't even know. It might be world renowned at this point. I don't know.
Yeah,
dude, I've seen that thing on I don't know how many shows on Travel Channel, Netflix. I don't know. You name whatever freaking networks they got nowadays.
Yeah.
If there's a traveling food show, like something like what Bourdain did, or Guy Fieri, or Phil Rosenthal, which shout out to him. I freaking love his show, man. Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. That thing is the shit. He's a quirky guy, but his show is awesome. A little off topic there, but it ties in because he did Salt Lick on his show not long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if the show has to do with barbecue, chances are Salt Lick was on it. And man, was it good.
I'll tell you what surprised me was their style of barbecue beans.
Yes.
Like, I think that stood out to me more than anything. It was almost like a Tex-Mex style bean.
Mm-hmm. They were very good.
Yeah, but it's just
very good.
It's not what I was expecting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not your traditional like baked beans, pork and beans, baked beans. Like it wasn't that. But
yeah, I mean, beef ribs.
The beef ribs and the bison ribs.
Yeah, the bison ribs too.
Oh my God, man!
I had the brisket. It was good. You missed out on your chance to taste it.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the brisket. The pulled pork. The pulled pork was cooked phenomenally well. the seasoning was a little different. Like
I just thought, honestly, I thought that pulled pork had so much smoke. I think that's what got it for me.
yeah. But man,
But
overall, absolutely amazing
the
barbecue.
beef ribs, the flavor on them,
Oh,
in the
dude, that was
seasoning, you
mm,
know, the rub, I mean, everything was just perfect, like
yep,
freaking perfect.
yeah, absolutely, dude. Which, in case you were wondering, anything you buy from there, like right behind me, I happen to buy one of these koozies. I bought a couple of them, bought a couple shirts. Anything you buy from there, yeah, still, what, 2 weeks later now,
Mhm.
I can still smell the smoke on here, like just the smell of a smokehouse, and it's freaking amazing. And every time you use it and you take a sip, you get a whiff of it, and it's like, oh, that's good.
Yeah,
So
I think
that was
next year it'd be cool to do some of these cool food truck scenes in Austin when
yeah.
we go.
Go get some good Mexican street corn.
No, dude, they got
Oh,
barbecue
I know they
food
do.
trucks. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, hell, we had one of those at the track that was amazing.
Oh yeah, them boys were out of Dallas. I forget
Yeah.
the name of them.
God. Oh man.
That was the best pulled pork I've ever had in my freaking life.
Dude, that was incredible. Yes.
It ain't cheap. $20 a goddamn sandwich, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But I guarantee you
That's the
that's
ones you don't even get mad about because you're getting
nope.
overcharged for everything anyway.
Yeah. And I guarantee you that's not their on the street price. That's their at Coda price.
I wouldn't even be mad if it was. That son of a bitch was so I complained about it until I took a bite.
Yeah, right.
That shit
Yeah.
was banging. And I
God,
cannot
was it?
we could probably do some digging and look up the name of that place.
Well, the problem is when it comes through the charge on the credit card was
No,
not their actual
I mean through
name.
Coda or something, like through some forums or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure we could probably find it. We'll try to find it. If we do, I'll post it in the description.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I mean, look, we were in Texas. The barbecue was awesome.
The brisket
As
sandwich and
expected.
the pork and the pulled pork sandwich was the chopped brisket. Oh,
Mhm. Yeah. And then they had some kind of whatever that sausage one I got was.
I
I don't
haven't
remember
messed with that.
what kind of sausage it was, but damn, it was it good too.
Bro, you put pulled pork or brisket in front of me, dude. I ain't even thinking about that. I ain't even thinking about that freaking sausage po' boy. Or not po' boy, sandwich.
Yeah, they don't know what a po' boy is over there.
um but look, man, look, that I definitely think the whole experience got better year over year at Coda. And it was phenomenal our first year there last year.
Yep.
There was some logistical issues that made like for after, you know, a 12, 13-hour day at the track, pretty inconvenient and probably magnified a whole lot. Um, you know, whenever you talking about trams shutting down before you even get out the race and all that,
Hmm.
that's pretty frustrating and inconvenient.
That was last year.
Yes, yes,
Just
yes. That was
to
last year.
clarify.
Um,
Yeah, I mean they improved on a lot of that stuff. Although we didn't have to mess with the trams at all this year because
right.
we were at turn 11. The parking lot where the parking ride bus dropped us off at was right there at turn 11. So once we went in the gate right there, we just kind of walked inside the track. Never had to even use the trams this time. So we really can't say if that improved or not, but I would have to imagine it did. There was a lot of other things that we saw that improved. I'd have to think that was probably one of them.
Hmm. Yeah. Man, I would have to say though, for anybody on the fence about going or talking about the price of it, don't get me wrong, being there is not cheap.
No.
There's nothing cheap about anything that goes on over there. But the GA tickets are not terrible for a 3-day pass. And that has got to be one of the most GA friendly tracks on the calendar. They have, first of all, they have a lot of them. They have a lot of sections.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, they are set up very well to where you have good viewing pretty much wherever you're at in the section. Now, obviously, when it gets packed, it kind of stretches out and overpacks to where, like it may be tough to see, but technically that's not really a portion of the ground where it was designed to see the track from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get like on the outskirts of the GA section, which you show up late on race day, you're going to be over there and it's not going to be great. But yeah, that was not like the design GA portion. That's just like the overflow. The main GA section, they're all on a nice hill, so it works out well for
creates
viewing.
The stadium effect,
know. Unless there's a big ass umbrella in front of you, but
yeah, I mean, that can be handled with, kindly asking him to remove it, or if they, if they don't choose to heed the kind warning, we'll call it, things can get heated and it'll be removed otherwise.
Yeah. Look, ask, tell, help.
Yeah.
That's the motto.
Uh-huh.
You ask them, then you tell them, then you help them.
Can't be tight. It's liquid. That's the escalation scale I like. Can't be tight if it's liquid.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, overall, absolutely fantastic. I mean, like you said, yeah, is it the cheapest thing? No, you're going to pay out the ass for everything. Food is expensive. Drinks are expensive.
Yeah, don't go there expecting to get drunk.
I mean, unless you got some deep pockets.
Pack a lunch. Your bank account better pack a lunch.
Yeah.
Either that or, I would suggest maybe fasting for a month before you go.
Yeah, right. Let that tolerance go down some.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean,
it's no different than going to a football game or a baseball game nowadays. However, the main difference is if you're in it, like, I mean, look, when we're at the track for 13 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a football game or basketball game or baseball game, you're at the stadium for 2 to 3 hours.
Plus or minus some for tailgating.
Yeah, but tailgating's different because you bring your own.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's, it's to be expected. I mean, it's, you want to go buy a team or a driver hat, shirt, expect to freaking pay for it. And prices went up too over last year. Jesus.
Yeah.
You want drinks at the bar under the tent, expect to pay for it. But
and if you better clarify if you want a single or a double, otherwise you get a
otherwise
double.
They're gonna make you a double. Yep. Which, holy shit, those were good though.
Yeah. But man, look, just being on site, on premises for one of these races, man, it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Being so in all this stuff and seeing these cars week in and week out on TV. To go and see these things in person man, if you have the opportunity, do it.
Yeah. Now
Make the trip.
and look to
Austin's a phenomenal place to go for something like this. There's tons of stuff to do. There's tons of culture. There's tons of awesome food, which I typically tend to base our travel plans around.
oh, of course.
Um, it's a cool city. Unfortunately, we go so hard at the track, we really have yet to take advantage of a lot of what Austin brings to the table.
I couldn't tell you anything other than the track that Austin brings to the table.
I've been there before, strictly to party. And I can just attest that it's an awesome town. But
Keep
man,
Austin weird, right?
yeah, that's their thing. And they do a good job of it. It is definitely a weird place. It's a different, especially when you consider the context of it's smack dab in the middle of Texas.
Well, and that's what makes it so much of an anomaly, right? Because you're in fucking Texas, and you come to this place that it's a tech city, right? Austin had the big tech boom. I don't know, however many years ago, whenever that was, and it's really a very, very different place than Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, any of the other big Texas cities. It is very, very different. If you want that like Texas experience, then Austin is not where you're going to get that. The outskirts,
No, disagree. Where we stay,
well, that's why I'm saying
I
that
mean,
the outskirts.
that's all Texas, bro.
Yes, the outskirts. We don't actually stay in Austin though.
Yeah. Well, actually, this time we did technically.
Yeah, it was technically. No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
Dripping Springs.
Nope, that was last year.
No, that was Driftwood last year.
No, I'm telling you. Our address was Austin this year. Go ahead and look it up.
You're going to make me prove you wrong.
I dare you. I'll just sit over here like this.
All right. Well, I can't. You won't be able to read this, but it is Dripping Springs, Texas. I'm looking at it right now.
I don't know what you're looking at, but that was the address to the Salt Lick, and
the Salt Lick is
where
in
we
Driftwood.
stayed last year. David, I promise
I'm sending it to you right now off of Maps, off Google Maps. I'm sending it to you right now. Sending you the screenshot.
That's fine. The address to the place where we actually went was Austin, and I'm not gonna argue with you anymore about it.
Because you're wrong.
Sometimes I don't know where you get that, but if you look on the Airbnb, that's probably why your phone's screwed up so many times with the GPS, which was a clusterfuck in and of itself.
That was not my phone.
That was everybody's. That was everybody's.
And then look,
phone.
I just sent you the address for the Salt Lick, and that says Driftwood.
I know.
Which is what I said, and you said no.
No, Driftwood, yes, for Salt Lick, but it's the same area.
No, Dripping Springs is where we stayed.
Dude, please just edit this out.
You can admit you were wrong.
I'm fucking not wrong.
Yeah, you are. It's right there.
Hold on. You're making me go on Airbnb and pull up my receipt.
All right. So while you're doing that, yeah.
Austin,
so
blank road, Austin, Texas.
It's not what Maps says. So
I don't care. That's what the owner says on Airbnb.
go check it on like
And that's what,
USPS or something. See what
and I
it
did.
is.
We
Check it
did, but
on.
we did because that Amazon something to it.
Yeah, and it was
Use it
probably
often.
Dripping Springs.
That's it. Shut the fuck up.
All right, so to wrap that segment up, Coda was freaking awesome. If you get the chance, do it, 100%. Now, look, let's clarify something. The biggest problem, I'm pretty sure we talked about this last year afterwards. The biggest problem is that you still end up being so disconnected from just everything else going on in the race everywhere else other than where you're at, because the commentators that were on the PA system sucked.
Oh, it's terrible.
But, the TV screens, they've got them placed well. They're just too freaking small to see from across the track. You can't see, like, when they put the bar on the side that has the running order and time deltas and what tire they're on, which, look, when you're watching them go by, that yellow and the white look strikingly similar.
Yeah, it does.
So, like, for stuff like that, to try to keep up with what's going on everywhere else, we still had to come back from the race and watch the race on TV to know what completely went on everywhere else.
Yeah, just to get the full context of everything.
Right. But I mean, nonetheless, it's still absolutely incredible to just be there in person and watch it.
Dude, if they fix that, they make the screens bigger, they get real commentators that are still actually plugged into the world of F1.
Yeah. Dude, let DC and Alex Jakes, whatever they're broadcasting on F1 TV, just let that be over the PA system.
They're already like plugged into that feed for the video.
Right. Yeah. Just put it over the PA.
Dude, like,
otherwise you get to hear about that ground fog phenomenon.
Oh, bro. Dude, look. It's no secret who we're talking about, but like Bob Varsha is a phenomenal voice of TV, radio, whatever anything like that. Like he's a stud in this industry. However, I think they did him a huge disservice in having him be the color guy. He's not a color guy. He's a setup guy. He's to bring you in and do all the things, say all the things perfectly. And, we're here in Austin, Texas, blah, blah, blah. Make it all sound great, polished, and, all this. And then he sets up the guy who raced in F1 for years to talk about F1, or formerly, Steve Matchett, the mechanic of 20 plus years in F1 or 40 years in F1. And he brings in all the stuff, and Varsha just kind of keeps everything tied together between a couple color guys. Him being the color guy, or the lack of a color guy, we'll call it. Having two setup guys was just clumsy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did not work well. Thank God for those American Express little radio things that you could get, and that plugged you right into the actual F1 TV broadcast audio.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, you're right. That was good.
FYI, if any of y'all are planning on going, if you don't have an American Express card, get one. Because all you have to do is show your card, and they give you this little radio on a lanyard with some earbuds. And whenever there's F1 sessions going, it dials you right into the F1 TV audio feed.
Actually, dude, I don't think we took advantage of nearly the amount of things that they had to offer through AMX.
Yeah, well, apparently
They had
where
like a
we
whole
were, where
other
like the pit
section.
stop
Yeah,
challenge was, and all that.
that was the same thing.
Yeah, all you had to do was hold an American Express card. Like, well,
Yeah.
shit. I wish I'd have realized it was that easy. I figured it was something you had to pay for, or had to have bought tickets for that section, or
Mm-hmm.
Paddock
Next year.
Club or some shit.
Next year, bro.
Yep. Gonna go annihilate that pit stop competition. I'm gonna start practicing.
Man, but yeah, look, the whole experience is cool. Not to mention, I hadn't even touched on this yet. The other series that run in the downtime for F1. To be honest, I look forward to that every
Yeah.
year. That's some of my favorite things, man. Like, for one, 2 years running, we get the historic F1 series, which this year I think it was all 60s and 70s cars from what I read. Which that's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I think last year, I think they had a couple more kind of iconic cars.
They definitely had a lot more of the Lotuses last year. There was only the one this year.
There's a couple more McLarens.
They had a
last
few
year.
more McLarens last year. Yeah.
They had a Ferrari last year.
Mm-hmm.
They had one of Niki Lauda's Ferraris.
I don't remember.
It was roughly that
era.
If it wasn't his.
Mm-hmm.
They but no matter what, like, this year was freaking cool. They still had a Lotus this year. The Tyrrell last year was one of the badass ones that was just smashing everybody.
Yep. And that's where you get the noise satisfaction, right? That we don't get from these V6 turbo cars. When you crave just that noise of a big engine, big V12 or 10, or I don't know
Naturally
what engine
aspirated.
Yeah, I don't know what all those cars were running, but having been to a V10 era F1 race, when that's the noises you want to hear, dude, this historic F1 race, because I think most of those that we saw were probably V12s. And man, the sound's just amazing.
Yeah, they're freaking cool.
And then when that's done, you get to watch the Porsche Carrera Cup, which is 40 freaking Porsche. I don't know. Cup cars, 9.
Cup.
I'm not even going to try to say what number. .2683 times pi, whatever the freaking Porsche numbers are, but whatever the latest Cup car is, the Carrera Cup. That was some good racing.
That was freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
I loved seeing that. I don't know exactly what. It seemed to me they had different specs in there.
I believe they were all the same. It's like a 992.2 or something like that. Whatever the latest Cup car is.
But man, them boys get after it.
Mm-hmm.
There was
some old argy bargy going on in that.
That was a cool thing to watch. 40 of those things going around COTA.
Yep. That it was.
And last year you had the was it the Endurance?
The Masters
Legends?
Endurance Legends or whatever it is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was awesome. Seeing like all these LMP series car, 1, 2s, and 3s, or DPIs, or whatever the hell they call the top ones now. But those are so freaking cool, dude.
Yep.
Like, those are unbelievably cool to me.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. If you have the chance, go. I would highly suggest, if you've been an F1 fan for a long time, you haven't been to a race, if the distance isn't really a thing, if you're just looking for the venue, go to Coda over any of the other U.S. races. Second on that list, if we're just going to call it North America, go to Canada.
Yeah, Canada was a good race. That was a cool one to be at. For sure.
I wouldn't mind going back, making a trip back there.
It's doable.
I don't know why I haven't thought about that yet. That might be in the works coming up.
Oh, I've thought about it. It's doable.
I haven't thought about it at all. Honestly, that's the first time it popped into my head.
Really?
Yeah, going back there.
I haven't really acted on the thought, but I've thought about it.
But just it's so awesome to be there in person, watch this stuff going on track. You know, feeling it, hearing it in person. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. Obviously, Max won that race. You know, there's all kind of things that happen with DQs and this and that, and everybody wants to get all bent out of shape about that. But look, the FIA DQ Charles and Lewis. Man, it is what it is. You know, like that's one of those rules where there's no gray area. It's black and white. It is what it is. Like, you are either in compliance or you're not, period.
Yeah. And look, I'm sure, you know, the fact that it's a sprint weekend and, you know, I'm sure that was the big argument, right? I'm sure that does play a role in it. But of the 4 cars they checked, 2 of them passed, 2 of them didn't. Yeah. So clearly it is doable. Now, look, if you had checked the whole field, I would venture a guess and say that, yeah, there's probably more of them that didn't pass. But
yeah,
that's how impound works. That's how tech inspections work, right? It's random, supposedly, but it's random. Think, you know,
I do think it goes. That, man, like, I almost wonder if, and I'm kind of surprised they don't have it built in where, you know, if you check, if you have 4 cars selected for this inspection and 50% of them fail, I'm kind of surprised that they don't grab them and check everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I read something. Like, I read something that kind of talked about just, you know, why 4, why not all of them, and it seems like it would be something, if you're set up for it, you know, it'd be easy to run through all the cars. It seems like it would be, but whatever it was I was reading, I don't remember where I even found it, said that it's just a time thing. Like, they, you know, there's not enough time for them to check every single one of them. So therefore they just pick 4 of them and go from there.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I kind of feel like anytime you have, like, kind of a strange anomaly percentage-wise of cars failing the same thing. Like, it's not like Charles failed for one thing and Lewis failed for another. They both failed for exactly the same thing, and it was 50% of the cars that you tested that for. So it, like, that to me would throw up a red flag, like, hey, maybe something else is going on here. We need to check everybody.
Yeah.
Like, 50% of the random 4 that you selected, that's an anomaly. That's a statistical anomaly in F1.
Yep.
Especially when you consider, I think they said the last time that somebody was DQ'd for plank wear was Schumacher in '94.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, and that was only because the only reason he failed was because he had an off and ran over like one of those sausage style, slid over one of those
Oh
sausage
yeah,
style
yeah,
curves,
yeah.
and it grinded down the plank.
Yep.
That's the only reason he failed.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's the one we were talking about that Ross
Yeah.
Braun went and fought.
Yeah. But nonetheless, whatever. It is what it is. They failed. It is what it is.
Yep.
Michael back then had a perfectly logical explanation in one particular moment that caused it, and it was on video, and you can even see the bits flying on video, and he still lost the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't give a shit. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter why it happened. It happened. It's done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's black and white. Here's what it's got to be. It's not. You fail. Done.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they can't be that decisive about other shit.
Because it's
Like,
not the Stewarts.
yeah.
It's
But
Tech.
so, all right. So that was Coda. Coda was awesome. We'll do it again next year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Be a cool style next year, boy.
yeah. We got plans for next year.
Next year we're gonna do it up.
We're not going to talk about those just in case some of them don't happen by whatever chance.
Yeah.
But all right. So would you say we get into Mexico?
Yes, let's do it.
So hey, surprise, Max won. So no big deal there, no big surprise. But let's stay on that Red Bull topic.
Well, no. Hold on, bro. You can't skip over. I mean, look, I think we touched on it before, but man, look, Max started P3, had this shit solidified by turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there is just a testament of this entire season and what he's doing. In his 16 wins in a season, and will probably be, I would venture to say 18 at least. Well, we got 3 left. We got Vegas,
Brazil, Vegas,
Brazil,
and
and
Abu Dhabi. Yeah, 3.
not in that order.
I think it
I
is in
would
that
say
order.
he finishes. No, what? Not the one I said.
Oh.
I mean, I think a safe bet is a very safe bet is 18.
Yep.
Maybe Brazil is known for crazy shit happening all the time, whether it be just because it's an awesome track or because it's weather related or a combination of everything. It's such a unique track in what it demands. You always got a ton of overtakes, so typically when that's the case, you get quite a few rubber on rubber incidents.
Speaking real quick, derail you for a second. Speaking of incidents, one thing we didn't mention, the fact that at Coda, I'm just going to back up a little bit, there was not a single yellow flag. Not a one. And I couldn't tell you the last time I remember that being the case.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, back to...
It was a quick race.
Yeah, it was.
But, no, I mean, dude, just Max, what Max is doing this year, whether you're a Red Bull fan, Ferrari fan, McLaren, Mercedes, Haas, anybody in between, like, appreciate what you're watching here in some form or fashion. I'm not saying it, but appreciate I'm not saying you have to enjoy it, because if you're not a Red Bull fan, or if you're a Mercedes fan in particular, you're probably absolutely miserable watching it. What I mean is, 20 years from now, this season will be being discussed.
Yep.
Appreciate the fact that you watched it in its entirety and were a part of it, because, like the way people that were into F1 in that 88 season, the way we can recall and draw back on the 02, the 04 season. And then some of Seb's, and like that's and some of Lewis's. But this is one of those ones that's just among the select few.
Oh yeah.
I'd put this one's up. I mean, statistically, it's better than any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Most wins in a season.
Yeah. And
percentage-wise, it may not beat. I think it may not beat 88.
Yeah, and
88 was 15 out of
that's
16.
the equalizer, right? Is because everybody's like, oh well, they didn't have 23 races in 88,
which is 100% true.
Yeah, it absolutely is, right? So the data of number of race wins, using that as a comparison is invalid. But if you look at the percentage of the season wins, that's you can compare that. And while we're talking about it, I'm going to look up and see what percentages we're at currently, because I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Would it be 18 out of 20? No, 19 out of 20.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
It's 19 out of 20.
So 88.
95%.
88 McLaren won 15 out of 16.
Yeah. And we're 19 out of 20 for Red Bull this season. So that's 95%. What was that 15 out of 16? What percentage is that? 90. Oh, we're higher right now.
Yeah, 93.75.
I don't know why I didn't know that off the top of my head, because obviously it's higher percentage because we're deeper in and it's only one off. But yeah, like I said, I would imagine that Vegas being the unknown poses somewhat of that kind of threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the track, I'm sure Red Bull will be strong, but maybe there's some characteristic of Singapore that it doesn't like. Who knows? And it opens it up. Maybe we have some kind of crazy weather happen in Brazil. Who knows? Abu Dhabi, I think it's going to be a walk in the park for Max. But either way, it's been an amazing season. What he's doing is almost borderline. I mean, it might be this. When it's all said and done, this may be the greatest season ever.
Mm-hmm.
When you just look at everything, right? Like you can go to different seasons over the years and pick out certain things, like whether Senna did this or Schumacher did this or Hamilton did that or Vettel did this.
Yep.
But man, when it's all said and done, like the complete body of work that Max has put down, there is zero weakness anywhere in this season.
Agreed.
So, all right, moving down one spot, we have, the what?
It's moving down all the spots.
Well,
as far as Mexico.
Yeah, as far as Mexico goes. But, man, look, Checo Perez, we got to just go straight into this while we're on Red Bull here. Dude, I mean, could it have been worse?
No.
I don't think it could have.
No. Mm-mm.
Nope. Short of him having an issue on the grid and not even getting to attempt that ridiculous move.
That would have been better than watching him make that bonehead move that he tried to in turn one.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like Charles and Max are the two that are going to back out of something.
Yeah.
In turn one, fighting for the lead.
Yeah. And I mean, look, he got a great start and he got a good draft off of Max.
Fantastic run. And if he plays it right, he probably comes out in the lead.
Yeah, if he
section of turns.
If he just hangs it around the outside, turn two switches back left, and he's on the inside.
Is Max in 21.
Mm-hmm.
Max started P3 with the Mercedes, both of the Mercedes in front of him. In the turn two, Max is in the lead.
Yep.
Guess what? Max hung it way around the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Checo turned in like he owned the fucking corner.
Yeah, dude, when you watch the onboard from Checo, the way he turned in, he was 3 wide, and he knew damn good and well he was 3 wide. He can say, "Oh, I thought Charles was backing out." He can say that all he wants. That's bullshit. He came up from behind them, seeing them wheel to wheel, got alongside them. He knew damn good and well they went in 3 wide. He tried to force it for whatever reason, knowing that he had to know that wasn't going to work. But when you watch his onboard, the line at the point he turned in, the line he was on would have barely left enough room at the apex for one car, much less the 2 of them that you knew were next to you. It's not like you were out front and they snuck up in your blind spot or something. You came from behind them. You knew they were there, and you're going to try to turn in as if nobody's there. I don't understand the thought process at all. And he says, "Oh, well, I went for it. I wanted to, I was my home race. I wanted to give my fans a show, and it didn't pay off." No shit. What'd you think was going to happen?
Bro, let's dig into his statement a little bit, where he says, I really thought Charles was going to back out of it. It's turn 1, lap 1. If you back out drastically, you get rear-ended and cause a massive pileup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in Charles' situation, he legitimately has nowhere to go. Nowhere.
Yeah.
If you jam on the brakes to get out of there, somebody's coming in the back of you, or you're causing a chain reaction that has a massive pileup.
Yep.
You have no other choice. It's lap 1, turn 1 on a track where you have it. What was it? An 800-meter run?
Something like that. I think it's the longest run to turn 1.
It is, but So by that time, they're doing. It's not like turn one at Monza or Baku, or next week Brazil's a relatively short run. You're doing almost 200 miles an hour by the time you get there. I mean, you are rolling by the time you get to this turn one.
Yep.
Except everybody's all bunched up.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just expect somebody to jam on their brakes. Yeah,
bro, like it's not going to happen like that.
Nope.
He should have adjusted that statement before. He had plenty of time. I can't understand why. Honestly, I don't think he thought that. I think he just made a bonehead move and thought that was a safe cover-up, honestly.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't have thought that. Because any way you logically think around this, whether you look at who it involves, Charles and Max are some of the most aggressive racers on this grid.
Yep.
You're battling for P1. They're not backing out, homie.
No.
I get you're not typically used to, racing for the lead. But that's the way it goes down with the big dogs. I mean, just a boneheaded move. And I think that was about the worst possible outcome in terms of his future that could have happened. There's already all this pressure, all this worry, all this talk about, he's been having a rough go, doesn't look great, especially the back half of the season.
His performance is already under a microscope.
I can't remember when he had like a stellar performance. I feel like there was a 1-2 somewhat recently, but it doesn't jump out to me.
Let's see.
It's hard.
Monza.
Yeah.
Yep. It was Monza.
Shit, that was a hot minute ago.
Yeah.
Man, look. Personally, I don't think Checo should be in that seat next year. I
agree.
I don't think he's earned it.
Yeah.
I think the beginning in this car, we see what it can do. I'm not saying you have to challenge Max, because I think for almost everybody on the grid, that's an impossible thing to do. But there's no reason with what this car is capable of, you're not fighting for front row lockouts in qualifying. The occasional pole, you ought to be able to get Max occasionally in qualifying. No, man, just like I don't see it, dude.
The performance just isn't there.
It's not.
The performance,
and we're not even seeing flashes anymore.
No. So here's the larger problem, right? The performance is down, and the bonehead moves, the stupid mistakes are up. It'd be one thing if your performance was down a little bit, but you were consistently still there-ish and contributing points and whatnot. But when you're consistently making these stupid mistakes that are costing the team points, like that's when it morphs into a bigger problem. That's when it becomes something that they're really going to start thinking long and hard about. And look, I know everything that Christian has said, and now what Helmet is saying, oh, Checo has a contract through the end of 24. Yes, they're saying that. I'm not going to be surprised if that doesn't happen.
I mean, we've seen that doesn't mean anything.
Right. The only reason Helmet's saying that right now is, well, look, to be honest, not many people, I don't think from the fan base anyway, really listen to what Helmet says to begin with. But he's under a microscope for being an idiot as well and making stupid comments. So he said that here recently because he needs to just tote the party line if he wants to keep his job.
I don't know how that whole thing works. I don't even know who the hell to fire him.
I don't know. I don't remember the guy's name. I think it would have to be like the new owner of Red Bull, like
Yeah.
Red Bull as a whole, because Helmet does not work for Red Bull Racing. He is not an employee. That's been made clear. He's not an employee of Red Bull Racing.
Right.
He is a consultant for it's Red Bull something, 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 not racing though. So, Christian can't fire him. Oh, well, look, Christian could probably say you're fired and they'd back him, but, he technically can't.
Yeah. No, I'm
Not yet.
sure if Christian went into an office and was like, I'm done, get this dude out of here. We can't operate like this anymore. Then it would probably happen.
Yeah, I think so.
But, I don't know if we're there yet. But, look, let's be fair. Let's call it like it is. Marco has been a guy who was in charge of talent development. In terms of Red Bull racing, Max is the last driver that it worked out.
Yep.
And yeah, he's there and he's crushing it right now. And obviously, that was a grand slam, out of the park, freaking record-setting home run. However, that was 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you signed him to your squad,
Yep.
he's been in F1 for 8-9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
15, 14, half of
Something
14,
like
15. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's been a long time. Gasly didn't work for you. Albon didn't work for you. DeVries didn't work for you. Sonoda's not, he's still there, but he's not going to work for you. Kvyat was garbage.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a proven track record.
I mean, if I am Helmet, I'm freaking pushing, which I guess he is, but maybe we're seeing less and less of the pull that he has. But I'm trying to get Liam Lawson that full-time seat in AlphaTauri. And I'm putting Danny Rick back in the Red Bull seat for next year.
Yep. I think that's the smart move.
Personally, I'd do the same thing. Like you got to think that's what Helmet's trying to do. But like, if I'm like just looking at this, if you're in a fight, we've seen 2 years in a row now. As they develop the car, it goes more and more away. Checo gets worse and worse and worse, slower and slower. Not just relative to Max, but relative to the field. How can you justify keeping this guy and anticipate being in a fight, you will be screwed.
Yes.
I mean, you'll be destroyed if Red Bull was in a knockdown drag out fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If you don't have a driver that can consistently put up the points, consistently not make decisions like that, you are going to get screwed if it really, really came down to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's jump on the rumor mill a little bit. Circulating today, this is Monday following the Mexican Grand Prix. All the talk is an Alonso Checo trade, essentially.
Yeah, so that's the scuttlebutt. I don't believe it.
I don't buy it either, honestly.
I don't see that happening.
I really don't. I can't see either one of those things.
Right.
Like I don't see Red Bull wanting to bring Alonso in. Obviously, we've seen Alonso so quick, but bro, if things don't go his way, he's a cancer.
Clash.
Yeah, like you don't want that in your team.
No.
Like he's played nice with Stroll because he's no threat to him.
Right.
You get a guy on a team that just starts dominating Alonso, bro, you don't want no part of that in your team. I mean, look, I think Alonso's great, but he's proven, I don't know, over his 20-year career that he is not a good teammate.
Nope.
At all. He is not a good team guy. And I'll be honest, I think that's cost him a couple of world titles.
Yeah.
The fact that he is not a team guy. He's not a driver that ever operates under the let's do what's right for the team. Let's make this team chemistry better. And look, even if you think that, hey, if he's selfish and he's getting everything for himself, that's going to be better for him. That's not necessarily the case. Because I truly feel like at the end of the day, a team that has both drivers working in the same direction, pulling both their weight, is going to produce better results in the end.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about the finite details, right? Maybe there's something that you get just from conversation back and forth between the drivers, and because they're chilling at lunch and having conversation. Like, I just don't think he's good. I think that would be a terrible idea for Red Bull because there's no chance that Alonso goes into that place, says, yeah, I'm down to be number 2.
Yeah, not going to happen. And he knows that. Like, he knows that would be what's expected. He's not going to do that. And Christian's not an idiot. He knows damn good and well that Alonso's not going to be cool with that. Like that, I'm curious to know kind of where that rumor came from. But I don't see that happening at all. Huh?
Probably helmet.
Yeah. Sounds about right. And on the flip side, I don't see Checo having any desire to go back to Aston. Yeah, when he left, it was Racing Point. Yes, it's sort of different now, but it's not different.
Right.
You know, I don't see him having any desire to take part in that either.
I can't see it.
Nor do I think it's a good move for Aston.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who you go after, but man, I just think after Danny Rick's performance this weekend, and after the again bonehead shit that Checo did,
I think it's becoming glaringly obvious what needs to happen.
bro, I think at this point in his career, I think Danny Rick would be perfectly fine coming in and being the baddest number 2 on the grid.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, and I say that because the other top teams don't have a number 2.
Yeah.
But you're going in there knowing the role
Mm-hmm.
and just preparing to dominate that role.
Yep.
If Max has an off weekend, be there to mop up.
Yeah.
Aside from that, get what's there in the car. But as we know, Danny Rick can drive the same style of car as Max can quickly.
Yep. Yeah. He's very good with a pointy car.
So man, like I just think it would be such a good fit, man, to have it back.
I agree.
And I think they're seeing it. I really do. You gotta think they're seeing it. Like, why give it to us, man?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have you can't for the third year in a row have a driver that is incapable of developing with the car as you make it faster.
Yep.
You can't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you also can't have a driver that is looking like he may very well lose that number 2 spot in the driver standings when he is in the absolute most dominant car on the grid.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, dude, right now he's only 20 points ahead of Lewis.
Bro, how many points has he scored in relation to Lewis in the second half of the season? I'd love to see that stat.
Oh
I hadn't
Jesus,
looked it
yeah.
up.
I'd have to go back and figure that one, but dude, it's not going to be much in the way of Checo.
No. All right. Well, we could roll that snowball downhill all night. Let's
Ooh.
Speaking of Lewis, P2, another very, very solid race for him.
Yeah.
Man, like, I don't know. I mean, he drove. Don't get me wrong. Lewis drove a great race. Very, very strong race. He was definitely aided by the red flag.
He was aided, but
Ferrari had put him in a situation where both of their cars had a serious upper hand on him. And turns out they'd have been, like, hindsight now, they'd have been in an insanely beneficial position with what we've seen that these hard tires actually turned out to be. Had we not had that red flag,
mm-hmm.
and they had to continue with, Lewis having 8 lap older tires than the Ferraris.
Right.
in hindsight, what we found out was that the medium was actually the absolute best race tire, and not just on the Mercedes. Initially, I just thought, because Lewis was able to clear Charles pretty quickly on that tire offset with the mediums and the hards. He was able to stay in that clear air, easy on the tires. That's what helped. Plus their car is naturally great on tires. Lewis knows how to drive to that probably as well as anybody on the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says Checo's the tire whisperer. I don't fucking buy that. Anybody can protect tires when you're slow. Lewis does it
really
better
good at
than,
protecting tires when you're sitting in the garage.
Yeah. Lewis does it over the years, has done it as good as anybody at any point in time while maintaining a very high pace.
Yep.
A what's needed pace.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I don't know, man. I think that we thought maybe that's just what happened, but in looking at it, that definitely played into it. He did an outstanding job with that. But
dude, he took those mediums in the race. He took those mediums 36 laps, but they were used. I don't know how many laps. He took those mediums, and he was not the only one, but we're talking about Lewis.
I think they said they were scrubbed. So it was literally like
a couple laps.
If that.
So he took those mediums 38 to 40 laps, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, that's freaking impressive. And mind you, still picked up fast lap of the race on the last lap on those almost 40 lap old mediums.
Yeah. But in examining other things, throughout the race, we're looking at, okay, you got this car that are on hards. 15 laps into this stint, we ought to see them start coming back. And it never happened across the board. Not just the Ferraris on Lewis. It never happened across the board.
Yeah.
Everybody on the medium tires wound up essentially fending off, for the most part, the guys on the hards, who we all thought were going to, like me and you were sitting there talking during the race, and it was like, all right, this is how it is right now, but come 10, 15 laps from now, we may be talking about 6, 7 positions flip-flopping here.
Yep.
And it never happened.
No, we kept waiting for those mediums to fall off a cliff, and it just did not happen.
For anybody.
Yep.
So, yeah, look. Would have really been interesting had Ferrari stuck up. From what I remember the commentators saying, I think they said the Ferraris had a brand new set of mediums left.
They did. Charles and Carlos both did.
Would have been very interesting to see how that shook out.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd have got a real race.
Yeah.
But
and I think at the beginning of that stint, after the red flag stint, I think Ferrari might have screwed themselves because they just held pace expecting the mediums to fall off.
Yeah, and I also think Charles could have. I don't think he fought Lewis tooth and nail, figuring that, like, don't kill my tires trying to defend right now.
Right, because his are going to fall off and I'm going to be good still.
Right.
And dude, that just never happened for anybody. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about them two right now, but that was for anybody that switched over to the mediums. It really didn't happen.
Right. Yeah, man. Look, I think I don't know. Everybody, I don't know why. Everybody ran and raving about that pass that Lewis put on Charles. Why I don't know. It seemed pretty pedestrian. It was a DRS pass on the main straight, and
Because
he picked up a little bit of dust.
he
Yeah, but
dropped the wheel in the dirt and it
yeah,
kicked
but
up
he
a
didn't even
cloud of dust.
squiggle. Like
Yeah.
it kicked up dust.
Yep. Yep.
I don't even know if he hit the grass. I think he caught a little bit of that.
No, he clipped a little grass.
Maybe he did, but either way, like, wasn't that big of a deal. Like it
No.
was like ESPN put this thing out like, oh, this might be Lewis's most impressive pass of the season. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
It was on a straight, yeah.
Under
Okay,
DRS.
he dipped a quarter of the tire onto the grass and kicked up some dust.
Not even a quarter.
You know, it's like,
if we're gonna say it, not even a quarter.
mhm.
But I mean, dude, like, come on now. Like, if you want to talk about impressive passes, how about at Qatar when he freaking, just duped Signs in the defending air, set him up, made him take a horrible line, push wide, and Lewis just drove right underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's an impressive freaking pass.
Yeah.
That is racecraft at work. Fucking blowing by somebody under DRS in that manner, that's not impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
What they do? We hit some dirt.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at what pass like he put on Rosberg back in the day, where he stayed in it through the grass and got all kinds of sideways and still made it stick, that's different. But that didn't happen here.
No, that did not happen here. Did not. Trying to find, I was hoping I could find quickly just like a picture of like a head on of that pass happening to see how far he was not in the grass.
Oh, they got a bunch of them. I haven't been able to find a picture that clearly depicts him in the grass.
That's what I'm saying. You can see a pass where there's the cloud behind them, but they're both way back on, track or like mid track by that point.
Even when you watch it in real time, it's so minimal of a grass touch. If he hits it, it's hard to tell. I've watched it, but
yeah.
Like, I don't know why. It's just frustrating, man, that, like, dude, like, look, I love the convenience of being able to watch F1 on ESPN. But why do people try and make so much out of nothing?
Trying to make a headline.
Yeah, but, like, there's tons of freaking headlines.
Yeah.
That's not one of them. But there's tons of shit to grab headlines in this race.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's so strange. But nonetheless, Lewis drove a fantastic race.
Yeah, he did.
Drove a phenomenal race. I'm sure he had a huge exhale when that red flag came out. Because I think...
Well, maybe not, though, because he knew as well that red flag was going to give Charles a brand new wing.
Yeah, but from what we've seen, that didn't affect his pace hardly at all.
And no, it really didn't. But did they really know that was going to be the case?
Or his tire wear, for that matter, because he
right.
took those mediums freaking deep on the first stint.
He did. But I mean,
pace.
at the same time, he didn't know that those mediums were going to last like that, through that whole stint. So I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with the fact that it was a big exhale because,
Well, sure, until they put him on the mediums.
well, yeah, but I mean, as far as he's concerned, that means that Leclerc gets a new wing. Leclerc can change tires if he wants to, just like Hamilton could, and I think it was still very much up in the air.
Uh, yeah, but what I'm saying is all that work that Ferrari did to build that tire barrier, that tire advantage, that's gone. So
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah, that
obviously
was wiped out.
that's what I'm talking about. Like that was the thing that was, for the first time, Ferrari actually pulled a superior strategy play and was able to pull it off and
Hmm.
have it play out correctly and properly for them. Everything was executed well, and it was only a matter of time. Like Charles came out ahead of Lewis on 8 lap younger hard tires, and that would have been he'd have left them.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we were almost going to have to buy a special bottle of bourbon just to celebrate that.
I know, and
Ferrari made an excellent strategy call. They executed it. It was working. And then red flag.
because look, I mean, here's the thing, dude. Like we saw the performance on equal tires
Mm-hmm.
in that
Yep.
first stint, and Ferrari looked strong. And Lewis could not get by Carlos.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that Ferrari was a rocket ship
Oh,
down
dude, in a
that
straight
straight
line. Oh my God.
when they were on equal rubber.
Yeah.
Lewis obviously was able to get some massively better runs out of that last turn when he was on mediums versus Charles
Mm-hmm.
Hards.
Yep.
But the Ferrari surprisingly looked very good on equal tires for the duration of the stint.
Yep.
And even when Charles was on the medium still and Lewis was on the fresh hards, Lewis wasn't really, or really Carlos as
It
well.
was
He wasn't really gapping him that much.
no, it was like 2 laps at the end of both
Right.
Charles and Carlos's stint
Yeah.
where you could see Lewis had the pace.
Right.
But up until
And
that
as
point,
soon as that happened, they boxed.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like we said again, like actually did it right.
They did. Yeah. They 100% did.
And a red flag. Honestly, bro, like I don't like red flag rules. I don't understand why they allow for a red flag. To me means a stoppage, like you're halting time.
Right.
I don't care if you're 3 laps down, a lap down, whatever. We're gonna, even if we restart the race, not restart the race. If we do a standing start, you're still a fucking lap down.
Yeah. It should be like a virtual safety car. It's just like a halt.
Now, obviously, you can't keep the time difference. Like, that's no different than a safety car.
Right.
But I don't agree with safety cars or anything giving a lap back.
Yep. I agree.
You can easily sort them out in proper order, but you're still a lap down. I mean, why that exists, I don't understand. And even if somebody would explain it to me, I probably wouldn't agree with it.
No. Mm-mm. I'm with you.
And like same thing. I don't think like Ferrari was able to change Charles' wing. I don't think that should be allowed. You should have to come in and do a pit stop for that.
Should be red flag should be like a parc fermé.
Exactly.
Yep.
Bring the cars in. Obviously, you put your fans on them, keep them cool, keep them safe, all that. But in terms of fixing damage, changing tires, any of that, nope.
Yeah. Unless, obviously, there's always the anomaly, right? Unless it's a true safety concern, like what was it? 2 years ago? Was it Baku, where they were continuously having the blowouts at freaking high speeds? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Baku 21, wasn't it?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Red flag, let them all change tires. But, under normal circumstances, I agree. Bring them in, put the fans on them, and that's it. I have to start writing letters.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move this on down the line. Let's we covered Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, a little bit of AlphaTauri. Danny Rick is
in the appearance
looking good. Yuki is I don't know why they signed him again, but McLaren. Piastri, what did he finish? 10-9. He finished 8th, but he looked good. And man, I was actually kind of shocked that Lando made it as far back up as he did. Because do you remember on the red flag restart, he was about to get pinched in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich, and he backed out. And dude, it cost him like 6 positions.
Yeah, but all right. So let's dive into that a little bit. Like
now, the people that got past him were not really much of a challenge for him to get back by, but nonetheless, it's still cars you have to get back by.
No doubt. And here's the thing about the medium tire. What I realized about it. If you did not make a quick pass, if you got hung up behind somebody, it was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Case in point, George Russell. He could not pass Carlos. All of a sudden, roundabout when Ferrari thought, he started dropping away. All of a sudden, he ran 0.8 of a second, which I think that was a mistake to begin. I told you this during the race.
Mm-hmm.
He was running 0.5 seconds to 0.8 of a second behind Carlos lap after lap after lap after lap.
Yep.
While not mounting legitimate passing attempts every lap.
Right.
Drop back. Do some management, then make another attempt.
Mm-hmm. Make a hard push for a lap or 2, and then yeah.
But he stayed under his wing in DRS. I don't know. Maybe he felt like if he got out of DRS, he wouldn't be able to hold on.
Yeah, because dude, he hung there and just lap after lap. I don't remember how many freaking laps it was until he started falling off. Like, dude, they'd come onto the front straight and he'd be 6-7 tenths coming onto the straight. And then at the end of the straight, he was only 5 or 6 tenths.
Yeah.
Like, he was not closing them down, and he kept doing it over and over and over again, just staying in that dirty air. And yeah, I mean, he might, he would pull out, but you're still getting dirty air over there.
He's still running the lap.
Yeah, the whole rest of the lap.
Under a second.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. But
yeah, I didn't quite understand that. But anyway, like that seemed to be the one snag of that medium.
Yep.
And I think you saw it with Lewis as well. in the first stint.
Mm-hmm.
Not to that extent, but they didn't go as deep either.
Right.
So you just seen it get worse and worse, I feel like,
Oh, yeah.
with Lewis.
Yeah.
But Lando just kind of blasted his way through the back. We'll call them back markers because that's what they are to him. He was out of position.
Yep.
And, that red flag absolutely helped him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at the red flag, he was 10th, if I remember right. And then I think at the start, the restart, he picked up 2, but then when he had to back out, he dropped back to like 14th again.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So he clawed back a lot.
But he pitted very early.
Yeah.
In the regular rotation.
Yep. He went.
Would have been. He started on softs and didn't make up a lot of places.
No, that didn't really work out like they had hoped.
And he would have been in a bind. I don't think he'd have finished in the points. Because we saw what happened to those hards.
Yeah, because he pitted originally on lap 11.
Yeah. So I don't know if he was trying to go for a 1. I feel like that would have really been the only play coming from where he was at. I think a 2-stop may have been possible had he got out on that first stint on those softs and started really eating up some time on people. But the way it played out, a 1-stop was the only way he could have gone.
Yeah.
And that red flag brought him right back into the mix.
Yep. Yeah, because dude, he was gonna have to take those hards 60 laps.
Yeah.
Like that was a tall order if they were planning on sticking a 1-stop.
In hindsight, that wasn't gonna happen.
No.
Mm-mm. It could have. I think they could have done laps.
It could have done it, but it wouldn't have been good
competitively.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, George kind of had another mediocre race. Didn't really do anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Nothing special. I guess maybe it is. It's kind of about where he's been recently, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, he had a pretty mediocre one, and then kind of rounding out the back end of the points, Albon picked up P9. He had a solid race. Where did
and Ocon was the final point?
Yeah,
again,
Ocon
that was another one on the mediums. We thought Pierre went on the hards. We thought that'd have been another one that shook out.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't.
No.
George Russell looked to be the only one that really killed their mediums, and that was because he's, like we just discussed, he spent so much time behind Carlos.
Right. Yep. Yeah, everybody else took care of their mediums, and they went the distance. I think at a surprise to all of us, they went the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, like during the race, when we were talking, at first we were like, all right, round about this lap, the mediums should probably fall off. And even the commentators were saying, and even the race engineers were telling drivers, Charles was being told in about 5 laps, Lewis's tire should fall off. And then they just didn't. And then the whole time, as we're talking, we're like, all right, any lap now, like any second, all those mediums are just going to hit a wall.
Yeah,
and they just never did.
it never did.
So yeah, so Ocon rounded out the
So the
points.
funny thing is, Ferrari and Mercedes scored exactly the same amount of points this week.
Did they?
Yep. They both scored 27.
Yeah, they did. Yep. Let's see.
So 3 races left. The gap should still be 22 points.
22. Yep. Looking at it right now.
Ferrari got to outscore them by 7.3 points per race
Mm-hmm.
to take that. So we got that fight going on. And then where are we at with Lewis?
Lewis is 20 points behind Checo.
So 7, roughly. He needs to outscore Checo by 7 points a
7.
race.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd like to see him do that. I think that'd be a fantastic comeback.
Oh, it absolutely would. No doubt.
It's shocking that we're even talking about it, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of switch ups in the drivers championship. I mean, so you've got Lewis and Checo 20 points apart. Carlos and Fernando are tied. I think we know how that's going to work out. Lando and Charles are separated by 3.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 2 of the last 3 tracks should be pretty conducive to Ferrari. It should be pretty favorable to Ferrari. Brazil, especially, I think should be good for the Ferrari. Ferrari's good in low-speed corners, and they're very fast down the straight.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all that's on Brazil.
Yep.
I mean, Vegas has a lot of straights. I don't really know how those turns are going to shake out yet. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like there's really.
I think it's
Let's
a lot
see,
of
Vegas track map. Looks like there's 2 high-speed corners, but they're not even. I don't think they're really corners. I think they're going to be flat out.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not like, I don't know, like a 130R or
Right.
an Eau Rouge or
at like
something out of Radion. No, not Radion. Radion Eau Rouge.
No, like at Silverstone, like Stowe or
even like the S's. You know, Maggots,
Maggots and Beckett's.
Or the S's at Coda or the S's at Suzuka. Like, there's nothing like that.
Right. Yeah, those aren't just flat out. Those are just, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, looking at the track map, so let's see. So there's turn 1. 6 might be.
Not really, because you're coming into the braking zone for 7.
Yeah,
so you don't have to like ring it out around that whole thing.
That's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah, and then 10 and 11 look like they're going to be flat. 11,
no, absolutely not. 11, not 10. Bro, 10's a
10.
borderline hairpin.
What? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Brazil.
No, we were talking about Vegas.
Oh, you're looking at Vegas.
We were talking Vegas.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I guess 6 and 7 are similar. Let me go. Let me go to Vegas. Where are you going? Are you going to Brazil?
I'm just pulling it up because now you got me curious because I don't know off the top of my head what 6 is. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's kind of a similar setup.
It exactly works.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
That's why, like, when you said 10, I'm like, what the fuck? No way.
Yeah, you said hairpin, and I'm like, bro, what are you on?
Well, like 11's definitely flat at Brazil.
Yeah.
All right, let me jump to Vegas here. Stupid ass track.
Yeah.
Bro, they having so much shit going on with this race, with the way that they're having to build it inconvenience. I'd be willing to bet this ain't gonna happen next year.
Man, from some of the feedback I've heard, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so three looks to be, I don't know, maybe not because it's coming out of such a slow turn out of corner 1.
Yeah. I mean, 3, 4, and 6 are your potentials for that high speed, but 6 not so much because it's coming into the braking zone for 7.
And 3, I don't know so much because you're just coming out of, like, turn 1's going to be a slow turn.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just getting back on and hanging it around, almost like a Curva Grande.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
10, that shouldn't even be a turn. 11, it's too short of a radius. 13's not a real turn.
Nope.
17's not a real turn.
Nope.
I mean, yeah, this track's a fucking joke, dude.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm so disappointed in that.
I really am. Like, dude, look, the whole reason is because they want F1 cars going in front of the freaking water cannons at the Bellagio. That's the whole premise of this whole thing.
I know, and I just
it's
care.
Dumb. It's stupid. It's not about the racing, it's about the show. Because it's Vegas, right? Vegas is all about the show. And that's what this is, and it's a joke.
It is. It's stupid, man. It's ridiculous. It's looking at that track, dude. It's an embarrassment to F1. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
Put Magny Coors back on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Back on the calendar. Put freaking Malaysia back on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Paul Ricard over this.
Oh, all day long. Yeah.
I care less whether we get another one in America. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but
not this.
I mean, it's.
Hell, if you need another one in, if you need another one in the States, go back to freaking Indy over this shit.
Dude, right? At least it's a legitimate track.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I don't know how I feel. I love. Honestly, I think it would actually be really good. I think it would be good racing. I think they could do a couple things to maybe spruce up the track a little bit in terms of the layout.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing but room on that infield over there. I think you add, sector 1, I think you could do something else. and maybe a little high speed corner or something in there. I think you could change that up a little bit, and it'd be an awesome, pretty awesome track.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but what I am a fan of is it's big enough to be a to be like to really be conducive to these cars passing each other.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I tell you what would be freaking awesome. So I don't know if you've seen it, but there is this new racetrack being built. It's called Flat Rock Motorsports Park. And it's not being built to what it is at grade 1 FIA for F1.
Mhm.
But it is being built with the aim of MotoGP, IndyCar, IMSA, and there's multiple configurations. There's a club track and a Grand Prix track, and I don't know the exact distance and all that. Oh wait, here we go. The club track is 3.5. The Grand Prix is 2.6. The endurance track is 5.9 miles. The endurance track is the entire thing, and it's like 32 turns.
Damn.
But dude, like, if you need another race in the States, do this. Invest the money in this, not Vegas.
Yeah, I had enough of that already, and didn't even happen yet.
Because this, dude, I mean, looking at this track map, it looks pretty awesome.
Let's see.
It's in, I don't know exactly where, but it's in Tennessee.
Imagine around Nashville, I had to guess.
Let's see.
Could be a great destination.
Yeah, it would. It is in Rockwood, Tennessee. Where's Rockwood?
That could be anywhere.
Yeah. Let's see. Rockwood, Tennessee. It is west, a little bit west of Knoxville, not quite halfway between Knoxville and Nashville.
Okay.
About a third of the way west of Knoxville to Nashville.
Gotcha. Cool. Never gonna happen.
No, but I'm looking at it for me. That's doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's what, 6 hours or less? 6 hours probably.
Yeah. Call it 6.
Yeah.
Call it 6.
Fuck, you do 3 already.
Yeah, I know, right? Shit.
But all right.
Says it's 6 hours 45 minutes.
K-Mag had a pretty substantial crash.
Yes. Have you seen, I know they suspected or like the team had stated something about a suspension failure. Was that confirmed?
I don't know if it was officially confirmed, but I saw a replay of it and it absolutely happened.
I mean, it had to be because, dude, he was right input, right steering wheel input,
and it went left.
And it just hooked left. Like,
Yeah.
there was no slide. There was no nothing.
I saw a slow-mo replay from behind the car.
Yeah.
And you literally saw that wheel just all of a sudden just snap to the left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it was in slow motion, so like it was like slow to the left, but it just snapped 100%.
Yeah.
It was. It wasn't an error on K-Mag.
Yeah, it's not like he lost it.
No.
Something broke.
No, it did.
And that was, man, looking at the car, I thought it was going to be a lot. I mean, it was a hard hit. Don't get me wrong. That was like the highest speed portion of the track as far as turns go.
Mhm.
but watching the impact, it wasn't as bad as what I thought we were going to see. You know, he hit it at the right angle to where the car just kind of rolled around as it impacted, and it wasn't like a head on or anything huge like I thought we were going to see
Mhm.
when they went to just showing the car.
Right.
I was like, "Oh my god, like that's going to be a hell of an impact."
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? And he just jumped right out. Granted, adrenaline and whatnot and all, right? Like he jumped out, and then they showed him right after where he was kind of just like sitting on top the barriers, kind of collecting himself.
Mhm.
But you know, he was fine. It was nonetheless, it was a big impact. But
Man, do you think that was worthy of a red flag? Like Max even called it out. He was like, "Bro, he's like the car's already cleared."
the only reason they was red flagged was because they had to spend so much time fixing that Tech Pro.
Did they
And
actually have to fix it?
I don't think they had to replace sections of it, but I saw them like they were draping like some kind of blanket or something over it. Obviously, it's not just a blanket, like it's something protective, but
Because I'm not
they,
gonna lie, dude. Like in real time, when I can't fast forward it, I get up and I go do shit during a red flag.
oh, yeah, yeah. Well, especially when the
Because they've
race
been
is actually
so
local
freaking
time.
long.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that's debatable. You know, it's just, I don't hate that they red flagged it because otherwise it's just, you know, it's 15 laps under a safety car. Like, you know,
Yeah, I don't want to see that, but I mean, like, does it really have to take that long?
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen or read what the extent of the damage really was to the Tech Pro, you know, like to
Because,
to
like,
validate an opinion on it, you know.
well, like, here's the thing. Like, whatever time it actually took, as soon as it's done, boom, you're racing again if you're under a safety car. When
Hmm.
it's a red flag, it's like, okay, we need to give you like a 10-minute notice or X amount of minute notice. Then it's a formation lap. And then, like, because drivers got to get back to the cars. All the cars got to be prepped. Everything's got to you got to rework the whole car. It's a whole new starting process. So, like, that's a significant amount of time that from the jump is like added to whenever it's ready.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, like you say, the total red flag, okay, it would have been 15 laps under the safety car. Well, no, it probably would have been like 7 or 6, maybe.
Maybe so. I mean,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, I don't know exactly what the breakdown would be, but it's just like there's so much other shit and time that goes into a red flag where you
hmm,
could have been racing long, long ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a tough call. I mean, I'm not mad about it, but
I just think they're so quick to red flag shit.
man, I mean, every decision when it comes to something like that, it can't be made on the race time. It has to be made on the premise of safety of the workers on that have to be on the track.
Yeah.
And you know, so I don't I don't hate the decision. I don't really have an issue with it. Do I think, you know, just looking at it from a time perspective, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Aston Martin double DNF.
Yep.
Figure we close out with that.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they're just going
They're
nowhere
just
fast and in a
slipping,
hurry.
dude. God. Yeah.
I mean, it's not pretty.
No,
I
it's
can't.
not.
It is not pretty at all. This is. Uh, I don't even know what to think of it, really, man. Like it's. I've said my piece on it multiple times,
Yeah.
and it's they do not know how to develop a car because
Yep.
they design it.
Yeah, and I mean they had and Alonso DNF'd at Coda too.
Yeah,
Um, they didn't DNF at Qatar, but then um, Stroll DNF'd at Suzuka. I mean, like, dude, it's just not good. Not looking good for him.
yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm sure they'll start next season with a shiny green version of the RB19 and be looking really good.
Yep.
And everybody will be like, "Oh yeah, man, Aston Martin, boy, they a contender." And Fernando Alonso will be like, "Oh, we're back. He's the greatest. P2, 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 P2." And then
It'll just start slipping again.
see ya.
Yeah. And like, man, I'd love to see them in the fight all year long.
You know what? I have been struggling with this. Not struggling, but wrestling with this. Um, Typically don't like to just like blatantly state my opinions on teams. But you know what? This is going on 4 years,
Mhm.
3 years
3 years of the
of this
same thing.
nonsense.
Yep.
And I believe that this team does not embody what F1 is about. You steal ideas, you put them on your car, but you have no freaking clue why you're doing it, why things work the way they do. You do a fantastic job of reverse engineering, but I cannot pull for a team that does that. You
Yeah.
know, it was blatantly obvious the first time they did it with the pink
The pink
Mercedes,
Mercedes. Yep.
blatantly obvious. Um, that there's no getting around it.
Yeah.
Mercedes, that era of Mercedes cars had such a distinct look and so many distinct factors, and it was a carbon copy.
Mm-hmm.
You copied the car, then you didn't know how to develop it. Um, Last year, all of a sudden, oh well, we actually developed two ideas.
Yeah.
Really?
Did you
Okay.
though?
What you think y'all are Mercedes? Uh, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. This year, your car looks strikingly like a green Red Bull, and you're lighting the world on fire. Still couldn't get a win, but you're lighting the world on fire in terms of where you were last year. And lo and behold, here we go again. You cannot
Yep.
develop the car.
Yeah.
And I
Halfway through the
said this.
season,
I said
everybody's
this
just blowing by you.
after. I said this during testing in our preseason podcast. Let's see if Aston Martin can actually develop their car.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we saw it with the pink Mercedes. We saw it last year when they came out with a car a third or halfway through the season that looked with the concepts of the best car, and here we go again. So I really don't know what. I can't pull for this freaking team. I'm done. I can't do it. Because at this point, you've just demonstrated it's glaringly obvious what's happening over there, and y'all have no innovation inside your own factory. Apparently, you have none of your own thoughts or ideas. If they do, they don't work.
Right.
I mean, it's.
And, this is all okay. Meanwhile, Andretti still isn't in.
Right. Exactly.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Andretti needs to be in, bro.
They absolutely need to be in.
Bro, you want to talk about making an impact? They could 100%. I mean, look, we had, 250,000 people in Miami. Between 400,000 and 500,000 in Austin. Who knows what's going to be in Vegas? You want to talk about bringing an influx of people?
Yeah. Bring in Andretti and watch that number skyrocket.
Bring in Andretti and bring that race back at Indy.
Yeah.
And watch them numbers.
Dude, did you see where amidst all the Andretti discussions and whatnot, F1 went to GM trying to get them to just partner with an existing team?
I did hear about that. I didn't read too far into it, but yeah.
I mean, it's clear that F1 has something against Andretti, not about GM Cadillac Racing being involved, because I think they see the benefit there. I think they do know it. They just have this vendetta against Andretti.
No, but it wasn't for them to separate from Andretti, was it?
More or less, yeah. That's what they were kind of angling for. Yeah. It was like, hey, look, we'd love to have y'all in here. Why don't you go partner with somebody else that's already on the grid, kind of thing?
I thought that was in terms of their engine development.
Well, yeah, it was, but it was more or less telling them that, we see the value. We'd love for you to be here. We don't want Andretti to be here with you, but we'd love for you to be here with somebody else, sort of thing.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, as a racing, not even F1, as a racing fan, I'm here for Andretti. I don't give a fuck about Cadillac showing up.
Oh, I do, because Cadillac Racing has been awesome.
That's fine. But what I'm saying is the Andretti name means more to me as a racing fan than Cadillac does in the heritage of racing.
Yeah.
And it's going to bring more people.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, more people know the Cadillac name versus Andretti. But
I don't know about that.
I'm talking in general people, not racing people, people.
Oh, okay. Just general gen pop.
Yeah. But racing people, Andretti carries more weight.
Yes.
Especially in the F1 world.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, you have this random racing fan, American racing fan, IndyCar, sports cars, NASCAR. You hear Andretti's going into F1, you're in. You're hooked. Yep. You're going to watch a season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what shakes down with that. More to come on that. But
I wish, dude, I freaking wish Andretti would start putting out merch.
Andretti F1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they?
I'd buy it right now.
That's what I'm saying. Let's see. I see something on eBay and Etsy. I don't know if that's legit or not.
Yeah, I don't
It's
see
not legit.
anything.
I don't think anything's legit.
No.
What I would do if I was them, start putting out some merch and show F1. Hey, bro, you want to see what we can do? We're not even approved yet. Look at these numbers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
So
yeah, we'll update that as more things come out. But man, I don't know about you, but I think that might be a wrap. I don't have anything else
yeah, I'm good.
really add to this one.
I'm jacked for the rest of the year. I'm jacked for Brazil. I love this
Brazil.
track.
Brazil is always fantastic. Always,
I love that track.
Always an awesome race. So I'm excited for that.
And it's another sprint.
Yep. So, all right, let's wrap this one up. Leave you with a driver quote from an in-car radio transmission at Coda, just because it was freaking hilarious when it happened in the moment, from Mr. Charles Leclerc of, and penalty from Mr. Russell. Thank you.
That was funny.
Dude, just like mid-turn, just calls that out over the radio. I thought it was hilarious.
That was funny. That was really funny. In the context of everything happening.
Yep. So
like there was never more of a slam dunk penalty though.
Yeah, clearly. So all right, that's a wrap for this one. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. QR code bottom left of that screen there, take you to our link tree. There will be a link for that as well in the description. That'll take you to all our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'll have the YouTube link if you're catching this just on the podcast. And yeah, that's going to do it. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
See you
Later.